Hey, I'm Michael Lunsford here, Citizens for New Louisiana, and I just wanted to show you some of the work we've been doing here in the last few weeks, few months. Actually, we're all over the state. We're doing things all over the place. But right now, I'm about to mail this request for investigation to the city of New Iberia. This is the third or fourth one we've sent in, and I think it's finally starting to click that there really is a problem over there, because we've been doing this research since February. There was $325,000 in misappropriation of funds. I say that. Let's call it what it is. They're not really sure what happened to it. How you like that? So they have no idea. $325,000 is no longer there, and they can't say how it was spent. That was the first thing we figured out back in February. Since then, we've been pulling threads, and of course, working in a community like this, we'll start to get leads and things. Next thing you know, we find out that there has been a, how do you say this politely? I guess you just can't. The state supplemental pay, which is intended for qualified employees in certain bureaucratic instances. I know that, the teachers get supplemental. You have law enforcement. You have all these different groups that get stipends from the state of Louisiana. So we got a report that some of it was being misappropriated or given to people that did not qualify. And so we started digging into that. Next thing you know, we found out the stepdaughter of one of the leaders in New Iberia had been erroneously recorded as qualifying for the stipend. And when you do the math, it works out to about $27,000 in taxpayer funds that went to this person inappropriately. Now, was it inappropriate? We submitted the request for it to be investigated. Next thing you know, that employee is no longer there. Very interesting. The next thing about this complaint that I'm about to file, we're going to drop this in the mail today, is another one in the same area in New Iberia, and they had been put in a position. And let me read you the complaint, a piece of the complaint that'll help you to understand this a little better. This individual in leadership caused to be created and filed with the City of New Iberia a Personnel Action Form, or PAF, which reads in part, the employee meets the criteria of experience and training rating administered by the Office of State Examiner and is eligible for this probational appointment. All right. March 2026, the Office of State Examiner indicated in writing to the City of New Iberia, the promotional position requires knowledge, skills, and abilities that are routinely and customarily tested in writing or in written form by the OSE. No OSE records indicate that an ENT training has ever been conducted. Given that, the OSE declined your request to allow the vacancy in the probational or promotional position. So, and here's the form that we got, attesting by the public official, and it reads in part, the employee meets the criteria of experience and training rated administered by the Office of State Examiner and is eligible for this probational appointment. So, and this is where we are. The kind of research we do is not done anywhere else. Basically, the way this works is someone who is elected or appointed in a high level will submit paperwork to the state of Louisiana attesting that the person they want to give money to qualifies to receive the money. And we've seen, this is now the second one. We have more records requests out, and we're doing more research to find more, because we assume once you find one, there's going to be others back there. But the general idea is they're misappropriating funds from the state of Louisiana. The state of Louisiana doesn't have the resources to check on everybody to make sure everybody actually qualifies. They just kind of take the word for this public official that what they say is true. Now, we do a little bit more of our due diligence. We get public records. We do the research. We find out, do they qualify, do they not qualify? If we don't think they qualify, we submit a complaint like this, a request for investigation, I should say, to ask them to look into it. And generally speaking, what happens is that person disappears, and whether the investigation goes forward or not kind of depends on the municipality. I think New Iberia is starting to take this more seriously, because that seems to be the direction. Now, let me show you the background on this real quick. On our website, you can go and any article that has New Iberia as a tag, as you can go and click on it, it'll take you to our New Iberia section. This is where we started back in February of 2026, and we found that they can't account for $325,000 in opioid funds. Here we go. In March, we found the misconduct allegations. There was a executive session called without proper notice, etc. Next thing you know, someone's filing to change records. Historically speaking, they're going back in time to try to change historic records to reflect that what we did 2 years ago was valid, and here's the proof 2 years later. You see how that works? Then the board that ignores the law, we found out that the Iberia Parish board in question here had been appointed. However, they weren't de jure members, it's called. And basically what that means is they didn't serve because for whatever reason there was a conflict. They weren't properly appointed, or they were appointed to multiple boards, and you can't be appointed to multiple boards at once in this scenario. So therefore, the board may or may not have any authority to make decisions. And then, of course, we have the final thing where they admitted they have a problem. And again, just because of the tenaciousness of this office and our commitment to ensuring taxpayer funds are used properly, we make sure this stuff goes through and they find the wrongdoers, hopefully, and some kind of remedy is performed. So that's it. That's what's going on in New Iberia. This is going in the mail here in a little bit, and we'll keep looking, keep digging. But look, in the meantime, I'm going to mention to you that the work that we do here at Citizens for New Louisiana is done by no one else. So without your support and your becoming a member or donating to our cause, we can't do any research at all, much less all over the state, but we do. Also, if you have tips that you want to let us know, there are things we should be looking into, you're more than welcome to send them to us on our website, newlouisiana.org. We occasionally receive contact via Facebook and other X and other methods, but you're more than welcome to reach out if you're aware of some nefarious goings on in your local government, because we're the organization that looks into it. All right, until next time, keep reading those documents, y'all, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more soon.